Hello, everybody, and welcome back. You may notice something is a little bit different. Today, I am going to be doing the books and makeup tag. I think it's actually makeup and books tag. I first saw this on Hannah's channel, which is A Clockwork Reads, and she originally got it from Sarah, and her channel is Sarah without an H. So I'll post both their videos down below. So basically, what I'm going to be doing is putting on makeup and answering questions about books. So let's get started. Okay, they're not really questions, they're tell us about. So the first category is primer, and it says pick a book that left a lasting impression. So let me get my primer. I don't want to sound like I'm super high maintenance, but I have very super combo skin. I'm all like greasy here, super dry here. So I have to use a couple different primers because my skin has very different needs depending on like the area of my face it is. So first I start with this guy. See if I can get it without a glare. It's the Ulta Beauty Mattifying Balm Oil Control Primer and Setter. Okay, a book that left a lasting impression. I had a couple, and I was kind of like trying to decide. Sorry, I'm going to look in my mirror, so I will not be looking directly at the camera. Had to kind of decide which one I wanted to actually list. And the three that I was kind of toying between was All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, or So You've Been Publicly Shamed by Jon Ronson, or I use this for pore filling. Or Let's Pretend This Never Happened by Jenny Lawson. And I picked All the Light We Cannot See just because I felt like it was the one that was like the most universally appealing. It's about, I've got a whole video on it, which I'll link below, but it is about this German orphan who's like 12 or something when World War II starts, and this blind girl who lives in Paris with her dad. And this is what I use for the rest of my face. It's okay. It's not worth the money. If my personal opinion, it got raved about, and so I was all excited, but yeah. Anyway, we follow both of their paths as they kind of get sucked into the war in very different ways. And slowly throughout the book, they come closer to closer, and then at the end, their paths actually cross. And it was just so beautifully written. It was such a powerful and moving story that I had to read that for an assignment for school, and I would never have picked it up on my own. And it was probably one of my favorite books I've ever read. And here we are, I don't know, 3 or 4 years later, and it was like the second book that popped up into my mind for this question. So yeah, I thought that was a good one. It definitely definitely lasted. No. Oh my gosh. Definitely left a lasting impression. Holy cow. Apparently I need more coffee. Okay, so I'm all primed. Now let's do concealer. Pick a character you wish you could have gotten rid of. I think everyone who's ever read Harry Potter is immediately going to know who I'm going to say, but Dolores Umbridge. Is there even like any other option? I mean, I hated literally reading about her, like made my skin crawl. Ooh, let's not do that. Yeah, I literally like got tingles up and down my arms because I was like, let's do something. And then, you can't because she's not a real person. And anyway, so yeah, reading about her literally gave me physical angst. Not just like, oh, I feel angsty, but like my body went into fight or flight mode reading about her. So there you have it. Oh no, I'm not done with my concealer, but I'm going to finish putting it on. Oh, this is I keep trying to show my mirror. That doesn't help anyone. This is the upside down Flower Beauty concealer. I don't know if you can see it. Light Illusion Concealer, I think is its full name. Yeah. I think I just got, I'm not wearing my glasses. L12 Fair. I think it's a little bit light for me, but there you have it. Okay, I'm back. I'm all blended. This is, I think this is the EcoTool sponge. I don't even want to admit how old it is. It's to the point where, like, I just washed this maybe 2 uses ago, and it's all gross looking because it just doesn't really get clean, and it's, like, ripped in a bunch of spots, but I love it. Anyway, not that you guys asked, but now you know. Okay, next one. Powder. Okay, I'm going to put my foundation on because I do that before powder. And the foundation I'm going to use is the Wet n Wild Mega Cushion Foundation. This stuff is so great. I have such a hard time with stuff breaking apart on my face. And this stuff does not do that. And it's super easy to just put on. It's super quick. You just like blot it on and then use my little EcoTool sponge to kind of smear it around. It smells like coconut and not in a like sunscreen kind of way. Yeah, I like it a lot. Okay, well, since this one doesn't even have a question and there's nothing else for me to talk about, I'm going to finish blending this in. I might need to re-wet my sponge. I did it a while ago while I was like getting everything ready, and it's kind of dried out while I was actually setting the camera up and stuff. So it's not working very well right now because it's like mostly dry. So I'll be right back. All right, I am back. All blended. Woohoo! Looking much more even. Okay, so apparently powder is next, and the question is, powder, pick your favorite last book in a series. There is a question for foundation, and I totally skipped it. Okay, so for foundation, pick your favorite book in a series. So I picked Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which is book number 5. That's my personal favorite. I know it's kind of controversial, but I love the scene at the end in the Ministry of Magic. It's one of the best like book scenes I've ever read. So, and I really feel like that's the one where stuff starts to like. It becomes more than just Harry's going to school every year and shenanigans ensue, to like, hey, now we're actually like getting down to the nitty gritty and trying to fight Voldemort and all of that. And that was my favorite part of the whole series, was like when it got kind of dark and they were like really trying to fight Voldemort. Like that was my favorite part. So that's why I liked Order of the Phoenix, is because that's one that really started to like coalesce. Okay, so that was the foundation one. All right. Now, powder. Pick your favorite last book in a series. So that was just like any book in a series. My favorite last book in a series so far is Kingdom of Ash, which is the last book in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. She did such a good job there were so many characters. This was such a huge cast. And she really was able to give each one of them screen time in a way that, or page time, I guess, in a way that made sense, worked to enrich the overall story. And I never was lost going, wait, who's this person? Who's this character? Why do we care about them? Like, she did such a good job of weaving all of the, like, many threads together. And she ended it in a really satisfying way, which, considering what a beefy series that was, I thought that was kind of a challenge, and I felt like she did a good job. The powder is the Maybelline Fit Me powder the lid's on upside down. 15 Light, which seems like a good color match. And then I just used a velour puff that I got off of Amazon for like $1. Yeah, I thought like it was a really satisfying end to the series without being too, and they all lived happily ever after, which wouldn't have really made sense for that series. So it was like satisfying. Like there was a bunch of sacrifices that were made, and I was sad about them, but in no way did I leave the book going, oh man, I'm bummed out about how it ended. If that makes sense. Like it concluded in a way that took a lot of sacrifice on everyone's part, and there were certainly deaths, and there was loss, but not to the point where I was so sad that I was upset about how it ended. And I wasn't quite sure how she was going to do that, how she was going to manage that, because she kind of boxed herself into a corner. But she managed to work it out in a way that, again, I felt made sense, without it being just like, we misread the prophecy or whatever. So, okay. Eyebrows. Pick a book you think everyone should read. I'm going to totally cheat on this one and say that I literally couldn't think of a book that I was like, everyone must read this, because the whole point of my channel, sorry, I'm trying to get my eyeliner brush, or not my eyeliner brush, my eyebrow brush. My eyebrow stuff, I don't even want to admit how old this is Strawburn Brow Powder Duo from Anastasia. And it looks like this. So you're supposed to use the darker color on the first part of your brow, and then the lighter color on like the tail of your brow. And then this is the Sephora Professional Brow Brush. And I love both of these. Okay, so anyway, I really struggled. The whole point of my channel is that everyone gets something different out of books, and a book can be absolutely amazing and still not be for everyone. Like, for example, I know Dan Brown books are super, super popular, and I read several of them, and I just hated them. I couldn't stand his writing style. I found it so obnoxious, and I liked the story, which is why I was able to, like, read several of them, and I just finally was like, I can't do it anymore. I like reading these just like actually makes me angry. So I really struggled, and I thought about the book I actually ended up picking was So You've Been Publicly Shamed by Jon Ronson. And I think it's a really important book to read if you have a social media account of any kind, because there's just so much to it that you just never think about, and then until, something you say inadvertently goes viral, and now people are misinterpreting it or whatever. Or you're part of the group that's, misinterpreting something, or even if you're not misinterpreting, like piling on and shaming someone. And the problem is that I feel like the people who need this most are the like young preteen / teenagers who are just getting a social media account and are also maybe not quite as mature in social settings, just because they haven't lived as long as, us that are literally 2 to 3 times their age have lived, and just don't have the experience of being on the receiving end as well as the giving end of that sort of a thing. But there's an entire section where he interviews like sex workers and stuff, and I don't feel like it's appropriate to be like, have your 12-year-old daughter read this book. There's just stuff in there that's not appropriate age-wise. And so I'm like that. I feel like this is a book that if that part wasn't in there would absolutely be something everyone should read, but it's not. It's just not age appropriate for everyone. So I really wasn't able to come up with something where I was like, everyone must read this book, because I could think of several books where I was like, I personally felt like I learned something and took something away from it, but it's inappropriate for different groups because of X, Y, and Z. Or not everyone's going to appreciate the writing style, so they're not going to get the same thing out of it, or, whatever. So I really struggled with that question, but that was the closest I could think of, is if there's just so many lessons to be learned in there that I feel like are really useful for anyone, not just with the social media account, but this is something we do on a much smaller scale in person, is, try and coerce people into better behavior that we feel is necessary. Anyway, I don't want to get into it because I also have a whole video on that. It's an important book, but again, not for everyone. So, eyeshadow. Pick a book that has your favorite color on the cover. I'm going to first put on some primer. This is, again, upside down. Man, This is the Catrice. You just not going to focus? This is the Catrice Prime and Fine eyeshadow base. It's a brightening eyeshadow base, so it's kind of whitish in color. It almost looks like Elmer's glue when I put it on, but it helps to brighten the shadows. I've been using Urban Decay's Primer Potion, but literally it doesn't matter what eyeshadows I use. When I'm editing the videos, I notice that my eyeshadow always just looks gold. I've used green eyeshadow. I've used like kind of like brown eyeshadow. This one is all like, I mean, it's like coppers and browns and neutrals, but none of them are like gold. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what eyeshadow I've used. Every single time I'm editing my video, it looks like I'm wearing the same eyeshadow because it always just looks gold. So I'm trying to do something that will brighten it to kind of make the colors pop more. So I'm going to put this on and I will come back. Okay, so I have the primer on now. You can definitely see it's like white. I'm gonna I always let it sit for a minute so it's not wet, it's just kind of like tacky. So while it's doing that, I'm gonna show you the two books. Originally, so All the Light We Cannot See probably has the most beautiful cover, like for my personal color preferences. However, I've already mentioned that one. So I'm gonna go with some books out of the Aragon series. Each book in the Aragon series has a different color, and they're solid books. So there's blue, red, green, and black, or blue, red, black, and green, I think if you go in order. These two, blue, green, and purple are my favorite colors, and there's not one that's purple. So we're gonna go with these two. No, wrong direction. The struggles. Okay, there we go. So it's Aragon, which is the first book, and then Inheritance, which is the last book in the series. And then, gosh, the stuff appears on my monitor backwards, so I just like cannot handle figuring out which way I need to move stuff. And you can see they definitely like get fatter as the series goes on. And then you have the next series, which is like a follow-up series, and this is the first book. It's not my favorite colors. I just have it sitting here, so I thought I would show it. So for the actual eyeshadow, I'm going to be using this Collab brand eyeshadow palette, which you can get at Sally Beauty. I have a couple of their palettes. I think they're originally like $14, but they have sales on them all the time. I got them buy one, get one free. So, I mean, I did spend $14 on one of them, but I got two for $14. And these are some of the best shadows I've ever used. I have the original Naked palette from Urban Decay, which has a very similar color scheme to this. I don't even want to count how many MAC singles I own. That might be it for eyeshadow. But I like these more than my Urban Decay, and they're at least on par, if not better than the MAC ones, which are $16 per single, or at least they were many years ago when I was buying them. They're probably more expensive now because it's probably been like 8 years since I bought one. But yeah, I love these. So I'm going to put my eyeshadow on and then I'll come back. Okay. Eyeshadow done. Let's see. Eyeliner. Pick a dark and mysterious book. This book is not only dark and mysterious, but super twisted. And that is Gone Girl. I kind of toyed between Gone Girl and Girl on a Train, but Girl on a Train is not, I mean, there's like murder involved and stuff, and so it's dark that way, but the Gone Girl is dark, like super dark, and until you get to the very end, you're like, what in the world is going on? So it's way more mysterious. I mean, you don't figure out the mystery of, or at least I didn't figure out the mystery of Girl on a Train until it was like revealed. But there's more than just figuring out the mystery to make a book mysterious, I've learned. And Gone Girl, like the entire thing, you were just like, what is happening? On top of there being an actual mystery. So yeah, that was my pick. And Gone Girl is by Gillian Flynn. So I can't do eyeliner and talk at the same time because it requires concentration and looking in the mirror. So, okay, I'm going to align my eyes. I also I will use like one of the darkest shadows in my palette and an angle brush and kind of smudge out, which I think I'll probably do today. So, all right, eyes lined, which looks super weird with no mascara on. So fortunately, the next question is mascara. And the order of these is kind of weird. I usually finish my face before I do my eyes, but whatever. So mascara, pick a long book. I tried not to double up on my answers, but I'm going to have to say Kingdom of Ash. I think it's the longest book I've ever read, and it clocked in at 980 pages. So, yeah. Oh, I meant to say, so far, Kingdom of Ash is my favorite ending to a series. However, I have listening to the audiobook for Hero of Ages, which is the last book in the Mistborn trilogy. And so far, it's really, really, really good. So it may get, Kingdom of Ash may get knocked from its throne as my favorite last book in a series. We shall see. But it is definitely the longest book I've read at 980 pages. Now, my mascara. Okay. So for mascara, I literally just ran and got this from my stash of backup stuff. So this is the first time I have tried this specific one. I have tried other Essence Stylist ones. I have 3 different versions. I haven't tried this one specifically, but I've tried the one, it comes in a kind of grayish blue packaging, and I love it. So I'm really hoping I'll curl and hold. That sounds promising. And then I use this guy for my lower lashes. The brush is super, super tiny. It's long, but it's really fine. Man, there we go. So it's great for that. And okay, I'm going to curl my eyelashes, put my mascara on, and I'll be right back. All right, mascara on. Now the eyeliner doesn't look quite so crazy. Okay, so the eyes are done. Now we go back to finishing the face. Again, weird order, but whatever. Blush. Pick a book that had some cringe-worthy romance. You guys know how I feel about the romance in Renegades. It was horrible. And the book gets such good reviews, and people are like, oh, the romance. And I don't get it. It's one of the worst romances, the most poorly written romances I've ever read about. It was so bad. It just made me uncomfortable because they were not really, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, Renegades by Marissa Meyer. So terrible. And look at that. My eyeshadow just looks gold, even though it's brown and bronze and whatever. I did what I could. It doesn't look gold in person, but for whatever reason, that always looks gold on camera. I don't know why. Okay, so my blush, it's not my favorite. It's this collab blush in Just for Fun, and it's a nice color. I just feel like it's a little on the sheer side. It's very, very natural. And I'm okay with natural, but I feel like my natural color kind of overwhelms it. So it just really doesn't look like much of anything on my skin. But I think if you weren't so naturally flushed like I am, it probably is a really pretty color because it's the same color as my natural flush. So, okay, 2 questions left. Highlighter. Pick a book that brightened your day. This is a nonfiction book, and it's The Magnolia Story by Chip and Joanna Gaines. I did the audiobook version, and it's narrated by both of them. And it's basically if you were to sit down in their living room with them and be like, tell us the story of how you guys met and fell in love and your wedding and how you started this business and how you got on HGTV. And they're just so much fun, the two of them. They genuinely love each other, which you can tell in the way they interact, and they're such positive people. I loved it. It was exactly like watching an episode of Fixer Upper, but with like personal details. So I highly recommend. They are definitely not professional narrators. So there are parts where, especially with Chip, you can tell he's like reading off and it sounds a little stiff, but there are definitely more times where they're just kind of like having a conversation. So yeah, that totally brightened my day. Okay, the face is done. I'm gonna spray my face. I don't normally do this after I've got mascara on because I don't want to like re-wet my mascara, but I use the Urban Decay All-Nighter because it helps kind of like, especially when I have powder on my face, it helps make it not look so dry, and it also helps the stuff stay. So very wet. If you open your mouth too early, it tastes like alcohol. So don't do what I just did, folks. Okay, last is lipstick. Pick your favorite book kiss. This one's tricky because I definitely have a favorite book kiss, but it's in book 11 of a series. And it's between two people that you're like hoping they get together for a long time. So, okay. It's in Falcon at the Portal. And I'm not going to say who it's between. But not only was it long awaited, but it was very satisfying. So, all right, this is Ulta Beauty's Patent Shine Liquid Lipstick made in China. No, in Venice. So, I thought it would be a nice compliment to trying to look over my mirror and over the camera and everything. So, this is the full look. And it took me, we are 57 minutes in. So it took me an hour to do this. This normally takes me about 10 minutes, but lots of talking. I had to run and find more mascara. I had to re-wet my sponge at one point. So there you have it. But these are my thoughts on books. And this is my makeup. I know I get lots of comments about my makeup, so I thought this would be a fun video to do since people seem interested in it. And now you kind of see what the process is. And you can also see how not a professional I am at putting my makeup on or containing whatever's going on with my hair. All right, guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to make sure to see more content from me, please subscribe before you leave. And I hope you have a good day and happy reading. Today I'm going to be doing a tag that is the books and makeup tag. Books. So I just dropped the sponge. I'll be right back. So I wrote down two of them, but didn't write. I wrote down what the like category was for the book, but I didn't write down what the makeup category was. I swear, I spent an entire day preparing for these videos that I was going to film today, and things are falling apart. But I'm like, well, it still works. It's still juicy. Like, I don't have mascara down here. Hold on. And then I always curl with my, ooh, don't look at how dirty. Oh, I was like, what does that say?